as I continue with the tool talk, let me back up just a little bit and say that I do have the 9mm Popular Mechanics wrench in here also. If anybody noticed that was sitting in there, it's there. I also have Duralast Allen bits in some larger sizes that go on my motorcycle axles and things like that. And they've held up just fine. I've put plenty of torque on those. So, like I was trying to say before, a lot of times the big box or auto store type tools are going to be fine for typical use, especially in the case of motorcycle use, because it's not high torque stuff. You can't really vouch for super high torque, but I've put 100 pounds, 140, 100, start again. I put 100 pounds, foot-pounds, oh my gosh, 100 foot-pounds on those Duralast bits, and they're just fine. Okay, so back to the drawer. I was saying that these high, I guess they're high carbon hardened steel bits that come in the Lowe's right angle screwdriver kits. They're good to have because they don't round off in your fastener, but if you have a cheap fastener, they may round the inside of the Phillips head fastener. So you got to watch out for all that stuff. One of the things I do is I try to keep a utility knife in every drawer so that whatever drawer I'm working out of, I can just grab a knife out of it, because you always need a utility knife. So that's just a little tip from years and years and years of getting in and out of a toolbox. I have some spare wrenches here. These are the flare nut, the SAE versions of the ones that were in the motorcycle drawer. I don't have all the sizes in the other drawer because I just don't need them. But I have these bundled up just in case, because they do, like I said, they come in good and handy for taking off copper brass type fittings, and also for pounding them onto a rounded fastener so you can get it off in a lot of cases if you put a little heat on it. This is a Duralast tool out of AutoZone. It's a flex head flare nut remover for brake lines specifically. This is the SAE version. I don't have the metric version, or I would have it in the other drawer. I may get it because it's 10mm and 12, and it will work on my motorcycle on the hydraulic lines. I have all hydraulics for brakes and clutch, and it'll work on those lines, so I may get one eventually. I really, really like it. As for little hand wrenches, I seriously doubt this brand is around anymore. This came off of a tool truck sale out in a parking lot, you know, the cheesy ones. It's called Ladell. I didn't even know what they are. But these wrenches have seen a lot of abuse. They're not very big, and a lot of times the smaller wrenches are the ones that break on you or round off or do things you don't really want to happen. And they've been good ones. It was a 14-piece set. They go all the way up through, I think the SAE version went up to 1 inch. I have them, the rest of them bundled up in another drawer. There were decent wrenches. So sometimes careful shopping and take a little, here we go. Get some of these little plastic calipers and take them with you when you shop for wrenches, and go ahead and measure the inside of your wrenches, you know, and see how tight they are to the fitting that you think you're going to use. You know, get one that's metric if you want to measure millimeters. Get the one that's SAE for this type. Here's my old Craftsman USA wrenches. Everybody has these. Are these good enough? Yeah. Look how much offset there is on this. Look at that. There's a lot of offset. And it's a good wrench. Your hand fits right in there. I don't have any trouble with these. Okay, I've had these for this set of Craftsman wrenches. I think it was a 6-piece set. I don't know where number 6 is. I only see 5 of them here. It's probably down in my reloading room. It's probably a size I don't use for much except down there. I've had that set for close to 40 years. So I've done a lot of repairing of a lot of stuff with those wrenches right there. So they're good. This is the other half of the Lowbolt, the Cobalt from Lowe's. This is the SAE half of that set. I actually got it on sale for $11 for the whole set. 10 wrenches, $11. You can't beat that. They're just as good as the metric ones. I really like them. This is the other half of the gear wrench set that my wife gave me, the SAE half. And they're fantastic. They're just as good as the metric ones, and I've just used the crap out of them, and they don't show it. They just look beautiful. They wipe right off. They take a beating. Yeah, the chrome's scratched, but if you don't scratch the chrome on your tools, you didn't do much with them. And here's the SAE half of the Harbor Freight Pittsburgh stubby set, and they're just as good as the metric ones are. This is an old set. I don't even know where these are from. It says Drop Forged Taiwan. They don't make any bones about being chrome vanadium or anything. They're high carbon steel, I'm sure. I've never broken one of those. They've been handy occasionally, not very often. Wrenches like that aren't your go-to wrenches most of the time. There's a set of Husky Allen heads I got for Christmas. Here's a small set I got myself from who knows where. It says made in Taiwan. Can't even read the rest of it. Oh, the rest of it is sizes. It tells you what's in there. And then here's a larger version of the same thing. And these are Eckline Tool Company from Chicago, Illinois. Number 51, made in the USA. So, some old school USA wrenches, Allen wrenches. And the gear wrenches, of course, are made in America back when she got them. They aren't anymore, I don't think. I think they were made in America. Actually, they don't say it, so maybe they aren't. But they don't say they're made in Taiwan either, so whatever they are, they're good wrenches. I really like them. Really old school Taiwanese ratcheting box wrenches, reversible. SAE versions from long before I got the gear wrenches. There's some feeler gauges. OBM, whoever that is. OBM Kenobi. All right. That's my SAE drawer of wrenches. Pliers. Since I'm in Missouri now, I call them pliers. These are the Harbor Freight long handle pliers. I've already used these a few times. I like them. People talk about how you can squeeze them together like that, but I'm not squeezing anything that hard with these. That's not what they're for. So if you want to buy the snap-on so you can't squeeze them, then good for you. I grip 105 pounds anyways because of my work. And so, you know, come on. Do I really care if you can squeeze them? I could probably squeeze them anyway, even if they're worse snap-ons. These are pretty stout. I can squeeze those. So the squeeze test, sure, they fail it, but I don't care. These are Harbor Freight, some kind of Pittsburgh tool somebody gave me, and they cut nice. They're tight. You can't see air through them except right down at the bottom. And they're good. These are a Stanley version of the same thing. And they are not as good, but not bad. You know, I've had these a long time. They're a little bit looser, but not bad. They cut well. This is the Stanley version of the Lyman pliers. I like them, but they're not real sharp at the tip, and you know, the ends didn't last all that long. These are the oldest pliers I have. These are probably 45 years old. And they're Craftsman. They came in a set that I have misplaced everything else except for the channel lock variant. And channel lock variant wasn't all that good. But I don't know. I don't even know where it is. I guess I have misplaced the channel lock variant. And here's a pair of some kind of channel lock rip-offs from Taiwan. They're pretty good. And here's a set of Fuller channel lock variants that have been around forever. And my brake shoe pliers. These, if you ever do brake work on drum brakes, these pliers are indispensable for getting the springs on and off. They're just super handy. This part here, I don't really care about it all that much. I don't see the point, but this one, this end, you need to get your springs back on. Makes it night and day easier. So, oh, and there's the needle nose variant of the Stanleys. They're pretty decent. A lot of these things, come in sets that people give you for Christmas. And sometimes they're well worth the value. This is my air drawer. I have an airbrush here. It's a very high quality brass airbrush that I use for detail painting. I have some odds and ends in here for fixing valve stems, and there's a couple, football inflator needle type things in there. Some end caps for valve stems, just different things you might need for air. There's an air blow gun from Harbor Freight. Comes with some extra tips. Who knows where they are? Here's one. Nice long one. And there's a lawnmower type tire repair kit that I need. And here's Teflon tape for air fittings when you're doing things with your compressor. You can see there's a bunch of air fittings in there for my compressor. And some old tire gauges from my old trucks that I had. And some valve extenders from big truck wheels to get down on there so you can get air into that back wheel. And some water filters for painting. Nothing too special in here, just things for air. If you have a compressor like that one, you're going to need stuff for air. I have my old hose is just coiled up right there, but it is hooked into this regulator, and it's made to go out the back door now without having to change hoses anymore. Since I put my Harbor Freight hose up, maybe it's time to talk about that for just a second. Get this, if you have a compressor, just do. Figure out how to hook it in. This is how mine is. It's on a regulator and a water filter at the end of a hard line. Hard line goes all the way across the garage. My compressor pumps a little more volume because of all this hard line. I get a little more than 80 gallons, probably 81 gallons. Not much. All right, so in my socket drawer, there isn't a lot to say about sockets other than clearly I don't have that much of a need for metric deep sockets, or I would have them. So that just says something about me. I'm not sure what. I have a relatively complete set of metric sockets. Most of the sockets in this drawer are Craftsman sockets. There are the occasional other sockets that I bought along the way. There's I think, who knows what that is. It's a chrome vanadium something. It kind of looks like a great neck socket. There's another chrome vanadium. I think I bought a set of deep sockets for 1/2 inch somewhere along the way, and probably lost a few or broke them or whatever. But as I recall, these were from O'Reilly's or AutoZone or someplace like that, and I use them. They're good. Here is a spark plug socket that I have no idea where I got it. Literally, it identifies itself as a socket. It says socket right on it. 13 sixteenths. 15 sixteenths. And it used to be a spark plug socket because there was a rubber down in there. So I don't know what kind of spark plug is that big. But I use it as a 15 sixteenths deep socket. This is a 13 sixteenths spark plug socket made in Japan. Okay. So you can see I pick up tools along the way to fill in holes just like everybody else does. The bulk of these are Craftsman. All the rest, I can't think that anything else but Craftsman is in any of these racks. But I want to talk about the racks for a second because they are the Pittsburgh SAE and metric socket racks. And I really, really like them. I mean, they're that one's too heavy to even lift. But as far as socket storage, let's get the 1/4 inch one out here. Nothing goes anywhere. When you move the drawer in and out, it doesn't tip over. These don't come off. The Pittsburgh way of holding a deep socket on is, in my opinion, superior to the more expensive brands that have this big old tab sticking up and a little round at the bottom. These have literally a 1/4 inch drive size square that actually gets into the socket and holds it. And there's very little sticking up past that, just enough to go up through the hole, keep it stable. And the bottom ones, look at that. That's just a rock solid way of holding sockets. You can pick up the trays and take them if you want. Like I said, in my case, the 1/2-inch ones, I find them way too bulky to try to pull out of there because I'll probably just drop them. I don't need to be doing that anyway. So what I do is I use them to separate my extensions and this little handle here. I have my 1/4 inch on the front because they're the smallest. Everything right here is 1/4 inch on this side, and my 3/8 is behind it because they are weird lengths. And so to stagger them in this short toolbox drawer, this is an old school drawer, it's not a big brand new Harbor Freight fancy one, had to stagger them. So on my 3/8 they're in front, and then my 1/4 inch are in the back for my metric sizes on the left. Okay. SAE on the right, 1/4 inch in the front, 3/8 in the back. That's the opposite for my metrics. It's not that big a deal. I do have some Harbor Freight stuff, ratchets particularly. I love their 72 tooth composite ratchets, both varieties. I have 2 of these in 3/8. I have just this kind in the 1/4 inch. And I got the low profile 1/4 inch. And this has come in very handy for lawnmower repairs and weed whackers and stuff, getting into places. Little stubby 1/4 inch Pittsburgh Pro 72 tooth, and the old school 24 tooth clunker. You can barely get it to clunk, and it looks like it may even be, there it goes. Ugh. So you want to put some torque on a 1/4 inch socket, I guess you use that one. I don't know. I don't use it anymore. It's sentimental. I got this because I have several places in my vehicles and lawnmowers and whatever that require you to just get around stuff, and you want to use the socket to lift you up off of things that are in the way. And this gives you so many options of where you can put stuff, and I've already made tons of use out of this. I've only had it for about a month, and I've used it. Actually, I've used it more than my other 3/8 ratchets, just because I can bend it around the stuff that's in the way. So it's something to think about. It's a $15 item. With a coupon, it's about $11. You can't beat any of the coupon deals at Harbor Freight. I got this, and I have nothing to say about it yet other than it's thin and long, slender, and 72 tooth ratchets, which is why I bought it. I think I'm going to find it to be a great serpentine belt tool. That's why I actually bought it. And it may get me into some places on my motorcycle I can't get in easily with that small 1/4 inch and a longer handle. I'm finding out that I like longer handle things because I don't like reaching over my head on things or reaching out at arm's length all the time when stuff is in the way. You know, I'm just getting old and getting tired, and so I'm buying longer handles. And when I did my lawnmower blades the other day, having this long handle 1/2 inch ratchet and the long breaker bar made that job 100% easier than it used to be. So this is my big drawer, and I'm gonna have to cut this off because I'm getting tired and I'm going to have to go sit down. So this is part 2. That's the end of it for now, and I'll do a part 3. Thank you. Thanks for watching, guys.